Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we encourage each other in our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name's Ellen Anthony, and I'll be your host this morning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome to those of you joining us via live stream. It's great to be with you. Our minister, Rev Kate Wilkinson, is off today, but she left us with a sermon that she wrote a number of years ago called Masks. Now, this was written long ago before COVID arrived on the scene, so she wasn't talking about the face masks that we'll be wearing today. And we thank you very much for keeping yours on so we can all be safe together. You'll find out what masks Rev Kate is talking about when we hear from another Kate, Kate Wallace. She will be delivering the sermon today. Kate is a former member of the Worship Committee and a current member of Racial Justice Provincetown. Thank you, Kate. And thank you, our Sexton Stephen, for always being on the job with what's needed, water. Before we begin our service, I have a few announcements to share. Tomorrow is Halloween, and the UU will be decorating one of the trunks at the Halloween Greet and Treat over at Mata Field. Setup is 3:30, and the event is from 4 to 5:30. If you can help set up or give out candy, please dress in your most wintry outfit, because the theme is Winter Wonderland. And thank you so much to all who have donated candy and decorations for this event. We remind all members that pledge forms are available downstairs for the year 2023. They're on the welcome table and also online at uumh.org. Submitting your financial promise for next year allows us to create our 2023 budget. Thank you. As we mentioned last week, one of our ministries is to the homeless folks in our community these last few years. And as the weather has been getting colder, we are giving out sleeping bags, but we have just 2 sleeping bags left in our collection. So if anyone's able to donate a sleeping bag or 2, we would be so grateful. We also continue to welcome your contributions to the Little Free Pantry. And finally, we hope that those of you joining us today in person will join us on the lawn after the service for coffee and conversation. Now let's take a moment to affirm our covenant. I will say a line, and then you say it back to me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another. Now is the time to light our chalice. As we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you at home to light a candle wherever you are. In this way, we can feel connected even when we're apart. Thank you, Tina. United by Story and Bound by Love by Andrea Hawkins Camper. Gather we now into this space, this time when the wheel turns and the veil shatters. Gather we now to remember, to grieve, to prophesy, and to complete our harvests before the long dark comes. Gather we now to tell the old stories and sing the old songs, to be as we have always been, the voice of our people eternal. Gather we now to celebrate that which is, that which was, and that which will be. Gather we now as we have always done, united by story and bound by love.
Please join me now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. If you have a joy or sorrow on your heart this morning, you are welcome to light a silent candle during the prayer or at any time during the service at the table to the right of the pulpit. And there's a journal there to record your thoughts and prayers. Our autumn meditation is a poem by Edward Hayes from the book Earth Prayers. O sacred season of autumn, be my teacher, for I wish to learn the virtue of contentment. As I gaze upon your full-colored beauty, I sense all about you an at-homeness with your amber riches. You are the season of retirement, of full barns and harvested fields. The cycle of growth has ceased, and the busy work of giving life is now completed. I sense in you no regrets. You've lived a full life. I live in a society that is ever restless, always eager for more mountains to climb, seeking happiness through more and more possessions. As a child of my culture, I am seldom truly at peace with what I have. Teach me to take stock of what I have given and received. May I know that it's enough, that my striving can cease in the abundance of life's grace. May I know the contentment that allows the totality of my energies to come to full flower. May I know, like you, that I am rich beyond measure. As you, O autumn, take pleasure in your great bounty, let me also take delight in the abundance of the simple things in life, which are the true source of joy. With the golden glow of peaceful contentment, may I truly appreciate this autumn day.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close,
Masks and Revelations by Reverend Kathleen McTeague. It was a few days after Halloween, and I had just retrieved my daughters from their daycare. As we drove home in the early darkness, we passed a house with a big picture window lit up from within. My daughter Hannah was not yet 3 years old, and she practiced her vocabulary through a running commentary on the world as it went by. She announced from the back seat, "Mommy, that house has 2 peoples and a dog in it." Thinking about Halloween and all the decorations that were still around, I asked absently, "Were they real or pretend?" She answered firmly, "They were real." 10 minutes later, when we were nearly on our own driveway and my mind had drifted far afield, her voice again floated out from the back seat. "Mommy, are we real or pretend?" I suddenly felt the ear of God inclined toward me. Is this a simple question of information, or is it a theological test? A 3-year-old isn't looking for an existential discourse, but long after the child has left the question and its simple answer behind, an echo still dances around in the psyche. Are you real or pretend? Probably a little of both. It's a rare and saintly person who can bring forth a depth of authenticity to every moment. Quite aside from the easy masks we may play with on Halloween, we run the risk of getting caught up in more serious disguises. All those images we carry around in our minds without even being aware of it. Maybe it's our idea of the perfect mother, or the dutiful son, or the beloved teacher, or the pious minister, or the skilled social worker, or respected CEO. Whatever it is we hope the world will see when it looks at us. When we confuse what we do with who we are we real or are we pretend? How about the rest of the lives around us? Are they real to us? The people caught in traffic in the car next to you, the waiter who just took your order, the woman who cleans your office space after you've gone for the day. Are they completely real to you? Consider those far away in terms of geography, belief, or circumstance, the people suffering in Ukraine, Palestine, or Pakistan, the hundreds and thousands of men imprisoned in our prison system, the homeless women on a bench downtown, or those who come to mind when we hear words like Muslim, or evangelical, or conservative. Are they real or pretend? Do we let them blossom into genuine human beings who are complex, maddening, unpredictable, and different from us? Or do we reduce them to parodies, people we can dismiss, who we can easily call our enemy? Sometimes we put on our own masks, sometimes we put masks on other people. One of the purposes of a spiritual life is to help us deeply engage in the search for truth. Sometimes that search is sharpened and focused by a query of a child, ringing out like the sound of a meditation bell. Are you real or pretend? Now is the time in our service when we take a collection for the ongoing,
One more reading.
Oh, sorry. Now I have the pleasure of one more reading by Myra Koo. Please come up.
This is a Maya Angelou poem, and it's an adaptation from Lawrence Dunbar's We Wear the Mask. Lawrence Dunbar was the first Negro poet that was recognized in like 1896, I think, and as a black literary. So we wear the mask that grins and lies. It shades our cheeks and hides our eyes. This depth we pay to human guile with torn and bleeding hearts. We smile and mouth a myriad subtleties. Why should the world think otherwise? In counting all our tears and sighs, nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh God, our tears to thee from tortured souls arise, and we sing, oh baby doll. Now we sing. The clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile, but let the world think otherwise. We wear the mask. When I think about myself, I almost laugh myself to death. My life has been one great big joke. A dance that walks, a song that spoke, a laugh so hard I almost choke. When I think about myself, 70 years in these folks' world, the child I work for calls me girl. I say, yes, ma'am. For working's sake, I'm too proud to bend and too proud to break. So I laugh until my stomach aches. When I think about myself, my folks can make me split my sides. I laugh so hard, I nearly died. The tales, they tell songs just like lying. They grow the fruit, but eat the rind. I laugh until I start to cry when I think about myself and my folks and the children. My father sits on a bench. Their flesh count the plank. The slats leave dents in the darkness, deep in the withered flank. And they gnarled like broken candles, all waxed with burnt profound. They say, but sugar, it was your submission that made your world go round. There, in those pleated faces, I see the auction block, the chains, the slavery's coffles, the whip and lash and stock. My father spoke in voices that shredded my fact and soul sound. They say, but sugar, it was your submission that made your world go round. They laugh to conceal their cries. They shuffle through their dreams. They step in fetch it, a country, and wrote the blues in screams. I understand their meaning. I could and did divert from living on the edge of death. They kept my race alive by wearing the mask.
Now is the time in our service to offer your gratitude for this place. We take a collection for the ongoing support of this meeting house and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website at uumh.org. On or off-site, your offerings will now be gratefully received.
You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you've got to sing, oh Lord. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you've got to dance, oh Lord. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You've got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You've got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you've got to laugh, oh Lord. You've got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you've got to shout, oh Lord. You've got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You've got to vote when the Spirit says vote. You've got to vote when the Spirit says vote. When the Spirit says vote, you've got to vote, oh Lord. You've got to vote as the Spirit says vote. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says do.
Thank you, Diane and Brenda. As Ellen mentioned earlier, I'll now be reading a sermon written by Rev Kate a few years back. She's even left me a few props for this morning. Love props. As we approach Halloween, I'll let you in on a pet peeve of mine. Store-bought costumes annoy me. This is Kate speaking. When I was little, the Reverend, not the irreverent. When I was little, nobody had a store-bought costume. Everybody made their own. It took weeks of preparation. If you were lucky, you had a seamstress for a mother. But even those who didn't could get by with some duct tape and a glue gun, maybe some needle and thread. I know that when I was very young, a feather duster was repurposed along with a pair of yellow footy pajamas, and I made a very convincing duck. One of my sister's best creations was an outfit made up of a clear trash bag full of purple balloons that she blew up herself. She was a bunch of grapes. After purchasing matching beanie hats on a trip to Provincetown one year, the ones with the little helicopter things on top, my best friend and I put pillows under our shirts and went as Tweedledee and Tweedledum. All the kids I know want to be zombies this year. Maybe they want to suspend the rules of life for a while, be immortal. Or maybe they just want to be scary, which they are usually not encouraged to be. There's a freedom in trying something on for a while, knowing it's not permanent, knowing there will be no long-term judgments or repercussions. It's fun to paint your face to the point where you are unrecognizable. It's fun to put on a mask. In preparation for today, I've been thinking a lot about masks. I was going to go to the store and buy some masks for today's service, but then I was annoyed by myself. So I decided to stick to my own rules, and I did some experimenting with paper plates, markers, and scissors. So I'd like to introduce you to a few friends of mine that will be helping us out during the sermon today. The owl, the tiger, and the happy face mask. The owl, the tiger, and the happy face are going to be my assistants today as we explore both the upsides and the downsides of wearing masks. Although it is Halloween that inspired today's theme, I'm sure you've gathered by now that we're not really talking just about Halloween masks anymore. We're talking about the masks that we wear and put on every day, sometimes without even knowing it. Much like when we don a Halloween mask, the invisible masks we wear aid us in accessing different parts of ourselves, parts sometimes mostly left unexpressed. We can be silly, daring, angry, scary, brave. And of course, there are other ways we wear masks too. Technology has become a type of mask, right? We use it to hide behind, to protect ourselves, and sometimes to impress and entice others. We post happy pictures of ourselves on Facebook. Even when we are unhappy, the mask goes up, and we portray happy, 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 smiling, smiling. One famous name in the word of, I'm not sure when she wants me to take it off. Okay, this comes off now. One famous name in the world of psychology gave great importance to the idea of the mask, Sigmund Freud. His theory of repressed emotions and energies in humans gave rise to the notion of individuals having a second self, a double, a mask worn to help them cope with the stresses and strains of real life. Carl Jung's exploration of the self led him to develop the idea of the persona. The persona is that face we show the world, our mask, and it protects our ego, our conscious mind. This mask can change according to the demands of society, parents, family, friends, and so on. The early Greeks, of course, had already invented the idea of a persona or mask into their plays and dramas. That idea that you could be one person capable of displaying several personas stuck, and masks have played an important role in acting ever since. So let's try on some masks. Let's start with this one. We wear this one a lot. We wear it to the grocery store. Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? The happy face mask is the mask we wear when we are connecting on the surface level. The happy face mask is useful. It's useful with people we don't know very well, or in a professional context, where we don't want to bare our souls every time someone asks us how we are. It saves us time. We would never get out of the grocery store if we told everyone how we were really doing. The happy face mask is useful when we are trying to direct the energies and attentions of a group. Who wants to listen to a tired and grumpy presenter after all? This mask is useful when we are camping with our family at a folk festival and it starts to rain and everyone is getting wet. This is fun, we say, trying to convince both the children and ourselves that it is. It is not helpful for the planner of the trip or the leader of a family to succumb to disappointment and aggravation at the very first sign of rain. Sometimes a cheerful group leader can keep the spirits of the whole group up. And it's not like the leader is not also getting wet, right? Or particularly enjoys a damp sleeping bag. He or she is wearing the happy mask for the good of the group. And you know what? Just putting on a mask can be helpful to ourselves too. Did you know that the act of smiling, even if you're not really feeling it, changes your brain chemistry? Facial feedback works because the brain senses the flexing of certain facial muscles, like the zygomatic major, which is required to smile, and interprets it as, oh, I must be happy about something. And on top of the direct neural feedback as you move throughout the world with a smile, you also get the added advantage of social feedback. Smiles are infectious. So even if you don't feel much happier, the people around you are more likely to smile back at you, and that can improve your mood as well. Fair warning, this works with frowning too. People who frown during an unpleasant procedure report feeling more pain than those who do not. And people who scowl as they move through the world probably don't get as many smiles in return. So, this is a good mask. But of course, nothing is simple. The happy mask can also be problematic. It's problematic when we never take it off. It's problematic instead of making conscious choices about who to show our other emotions to and when, we are never showing other emotions to anyone. It's problematic when we wear this mask even when looking in the mirror, when we can't be honest with ourselves about when we are not happy. How about the owl? This is a good mask. We wear the owl mask when we want to appear wise. It is another useful mask for things like job interviews or delivering sermons. We need the confidence of a wise owl mask when we want people to listen to the things we have to say. Sometimes we need to wear this mask with ourselves in order to embrace the idea that each of us has wisdom, hard-won wisdom from life's expectations that makes our opinions and point of view valuable. We have wisdom, we have stories, we have worth, we can see through darkness. We are owls. And the owl mask, too, can be problematic when we are constantly trying to prove that we are the smartest one in the room. I have never done that. That our opinion matters the most, that we are smart and therefore others are dumb, when we hold forth on subjects that we are not experts in and fail to listen to the wisdom that others bring to the table, when the mask of being knowledgeable keeps us from asking questions and admitting doubts, or keeps us from admitting that we need clarification or direction, when we think we know what others are thinking because we are so wise, the owl mask can be problematic. And last, our friend Tiger. This is a good mask. We wear it when we need to be brave or fierce, rawr, or when we are sticking up for ourselves or others. We wear it when writing letters to the editor. We wear it when we are standing in front of town hall with signs for justice. We wear our tiger mask in the face of illness and other challenges. We put it on when we need to be tough, fight back, endure bad news or the unknown. We use our tiger mask to access our strength. We can do this. And by the way, don't mess with me. It's a good mask, and it is also problematic. When we appear so fierce in our mission for justice, we might scare away those who have questions. We might not be inviting dialogue that could be helpful to someone's understanding or to our own. A tiger mask is intimidating. When we wear our tiger mask in the face of illness, loss, or other major challenges, we might appear so self-confident and so strong that others shy away from offering us comfort or help. Our tiger mask might keep us from accepting the offers of comfort and help from our family and friends. Our tiger mask might be so tight on our faces that we don't have room for tears to fall. And sometimes we just need to fall apart for a while, put the mask back on later. It's not comfortable to wear a tiger mask to bed. In her article called "The Masks We Wear," Susan Sparks says, "One of the most common reasons we wear masks is what I think of as imposter syndrome, the fear that the world is going to find us out. I've heard it described as feeling like a fake, like you don't really belong, or like you aren't really successful, but are just posing as such. It's like my Halloween costume at age 7, she says. I dressed up as a zombie gypsy, something I believed to be terribly scary, until my neighbor yanked off my mask and said, 'Oh, it's just you.' It's one of our greatest fears is that if we show our true selves, Susan says, the world will say, 'Oh, it's just you.' But being just you is actually the best and most perfect thing you could ever be. As Oscar Wilde said, 'Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.'" Alex Cohen writes, "The reality is we all wear masks daily. We are one person at home, another in the office, and yet another around our community and friends. With all the masks that we wear," he asks, "do we eventually lose sight of the original person we are, the person behind the mask?" Novelist and essayist André Bertillon once wrote, "We all wear masks, and the time comes when we cannot remove them without removing some of our own skin." So we've heard a lot about masks today. The upsides and downsides, their usefulness and their dangers. Once Halloween is over, we don't have to pack them all away. But maybe as we go throughout our day with our various inevitable masks, we can begin to ask ourselves, are they serving us well? And when we take them off, maybe with a little bit of skin on them, we can look in the mirror and ask ourselves that 3-year-old's question: are we real or pretend? Amen, and blessed be. It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of dinner conversation tonight or a question to pose to friends during the week. And if you'd like to delve deeper into this question, you can join us on Zoom Tuesday at 5. Here is the question: what is a mask you sometimes wear? What is a mask you sometimes wear? And I'll end with these closing words. May we leave this place with gladness that we have spent an hour in this good company. May we be brave and fierce in the face of any challenges this week. And may we have the wisdom to know when we can take all our masks off and be known just as who we are. Thank you for joining us this morning. Go in peace.